Hey, this is Jill from the Smiling Goat, and let me talk to you about the video we're doing today. You are doing the Welcome to Our Home sign on wood. In your kit, you will notice you have a piece of wood. It is a 1x12 cut 36 inches long. It's already been stained for you with Provincial Stain from Minwax, and then it's been sealed with a tough coat by Fusion Mineral Paint. So this, when you're finished, is totally washable. You don't have to worry about it even being outside. It's good to go if you want to put it out on your porch. Also in your kit, you have 2 stencils ready to go. You got the Welcome to Our H, and you've got the wreath with the M and the E. It is already prepped so that you have all the weeding done, and you have this clear cover called transfer tape over the top of that. Okay. So I just got a text while I was doing this. I hope you didn't see it. It asked what I was doing. Well, I'm not answering right now. But anyway. So how we're going to start is we are going... No, we're not going to start yet. We're going to talk about your paint. Your paint that you have in little tubs by the color you chose is called Fusion Mineral Paint. This one's the white, the picket fence. It comes in lots of colors. I've got some that I'm going to do other projects with here. The color I'm going to use today is a sample they sent me. It's a little baby size. Look at that. I want to see how far it goes. It's a little bitty, and it's called Putty. But this paint is awesome. When it dries and cures, it's totally waterproof too. You can put it out on the porch. You can put it outside. Give it 3 weeks to fully cure before you really expose it to the elements, before you scrub anything. If it gets splattered with something and you want to wipe it off, that's fine. But if you're going to scrub it, wait 3 weeks and you won't have to worry about scrubbing any paint away. So it's great stuff. You can use it it's for kitchen cabinets, but you could use it on outdoor furniture, all sorts of stuff. So if you like this paint, it's Fusion Mineral Paint. I sell it in my shop, but you can also get it online. So now let's start. We've got 2 stencils here. You've got a long one and you've got the shorter one. We are going to start with the longer one, and so that we can line it up on our board, and then we can line the little one up with the bigger stencil. So turn it upside down. Well, press it down good. Make sure in transit, I guess, that the transfer tape didn't come loose anywhere. So do press it down really well, especially around this wreath, all these little leaves and things. Press that down really, really well. Okay, turn her over and peel the paper away. You're wanting the white to stick to the transfer tape, not to the blue paper. So if it lifts up, like mine did, lay it back down. Press it down again. I'm trying to do this one-handed. I forgot my stick thing that I usually do to hold my camera. And I'm all by myself today, so I only have one hand. So you pull it off. So I'm going to pause this video and keep pulling. But if white starts to come up, press it back down and lift it away. You do not want any white pieces stuck to your blue paper. There we go. So 2 hands are better than 1, but it is easier, in my way of thinking, to do it upside down and pull the paper off of your transfer tape away from your white vinyl than it is to try to do it upside down, or the other way. If you do it the other way with the transfer tape on top, you risk wrinkling your stencil. So this way it lays flat on your surface while you're doing this. So I'm going to pause and pull this off and the other one off all the way. Hold on, I'll be right back. You probably won't even notice. Okay, I am back. If everybody hasn't got their paper backing off, repause this video and then come back to me. Okay, so mine's upside down. You can see I've pulled all the paper off. I'm left with the white vinyl stuck to this clear plastic with the grid on it. I've got to tell you now that the grid is not lined up perfectly with your letters. It's just there so that you can see the plastic. I mean, if you had little pieces, you could line it up easier, but these are not lined up straight by any means, but your E is straight. So you are going to use the E to line up your stencil when you lay it on the wood. I stuck together. I'm going to move this one out of my way so I don't accidentally stick it down somewhere. So I'm going to come back to this. You can see my lamp reflection. So this E, I am going to turn it upside down, and I am going to line my stencil up with the bottom of my board. As long as I don't press it down, I can lift and reposition. I'm going to try not to do that too much because every time I move it, I lose the sticky. But do not worry if your transfer tape gets wider here and more narrow here. Like I said, it's not straight on there. So you are looking at your letters to see if, like on the M, you have about the same amount of wood showing from the edge of your M here to here, which I don't, so I'm going to reposition, and that your E is straight across on your board. You want to leave about a finger. Oh, it's that reflection. You can see the wood there, about a finger's width right there for your E, but you want to try to make sure everything's centered. You can get a ruler if you want, but you could also just use your finger. Okay, so that's about a knuckle. I'm about 2 knuckles over there, so I'm going to reposition. Just scooch it over. And you can see, as long as I haven't pressed it down, I can move and play with this a little bit. All right, I like the way that looks. I feel like it's nice and centered. I've got about as much margin on each side on my M's. My E looks good and straight. I'm going to even kind of use this sponge here as a measuring tool. Yeah, good and straight. Looks good and even. I am ready to press this down. So I'm going to press it hard to my wood. So the white vinyl is stickier than the transfer tape. So that means that it will stick to the wood and we can peel off the clear transfer tape by making sure it's stuck well. After we stained these boards, we let them cure a little bit and then put a clear matte poly called Tough Coat from Fusion on them. If I went straight to the stain from the vinyl, I risk pulling up the wood, the grain a little bit on my transfer tape or on my stencil, just because that oil makes the wood softer, the oil that's in the stain. So by putting a poly over the top of the stain, it helps me not to pull away any wood. So the trick to getting transfer tape off, don't pull it up. If you pull it up, you risk pulling up the vinyl. You have to roll it away. And you still risk pulling away the vinyl. But if you do the same thing you did when you were pulling off the paper. You go back, rub it down better. Rub it down better. Make it behave. And keep rolling. Keep it against the wood. No lifting at all. Not even slightly lifting. You're rolling it away. Do not roll it in a cigar shape to roll it away. You are just... There's so many times that people want to roll it up into a roll and then just keep rolling. Really, that's not making your life easier. Just by pulling it against the surface makes your life easier. Oh, just wait till you get to this wreath. And those little welcome in the 2 hour when we do that. Did you have fun getting the paper off of those? Yep. Nobody said crafting was easy, but I hope I'm teaching you some of the tools to make it a little bit easier for you. All right, here we go. I'm doing this one-handed again, so I'm a little bit nervous. Two-handed would be easier. One hand to help hold down everything, the other to pull away, but I'm living life on the wild side today. See, I want to show you this. There's a rip there. Don't worry about it. This is all going to be trash before we know it anyway. This is just to mask off where the stain's going to show through. Everything right now that looks like wood, or that is wood, that you see the wood from, is going to be painted your color. And where the white is, you're going to see the stain show through. So we're kind of making the opposite here. We're masking off what we want to continue being the stained wood look and painting what everything else is. I know somebody, when you're done, is going to say, hey, this looks good with this white vinyl. I'm just going to leave it that way. Don't do that. This white vinyl is not permanent. Tomorrow it's going to start peeling off. So it looks good now. You've got to paint it. All right, so we've got half done. Now we've got this next little stencil to line up. All right. So we have left about a finger's width down here from the E. We do the same thing up here. About a finger's width from the L. And that should give us a pretty good lineup. Again, you want to center. I'm just going everywhere on my finger's width from the L. So you want to center from here to there. And mine's off just a tiny bit. You can tell if it's straight by, oh, that's not straight. I really pulled. You can tell if it's straight if all the margins around the H are equal. Because if it was not straight, this one's going to be farther away than this one, and this one and this one are not going to be equal. So if they're all equidistant from the edge of your wood, you know you're on there straight. Okay, I'm pretty happy. Look also at your welcome from here to here. That should be about the same as well. So let me go back to your first stencil. If you had trouble pulling off the transfer tape, if your letters were not sticking well, that meant you were moving it lots and lots of times. So do your best once you get it pretty close to tell yourself, okay, I'm leaving it. Because if you just keep moving it and keep moving it and keep moving it, your white sticky is going to lose its sticky, and you're going to have a difficult time getting it to go where it belongs. So the fewer times you move it, especially with these little letters, you want them to be really sticky so you don't have such a hard time getting them off of your transfer tape. So try your best not to move it too often. All right, again, one-handed. All right, here we go. Moment of truth. Oh, the T. Woo! That's a good, oh, lands. All right, come on, welcome. Stay where you are supposed to. Did you see that? Oh, I was pulling and I just kept going. Let's see if I can lay you back down and line you up. Oh, that was a close one. Alrighty, there it is upside down. Let me walk it over here. Welcome to our home. Beautiful. Okay, so we're ready to start painting. I'm going to pause it and get my paint ready. You all finish up what you're doing and come back to me when everybody's got their transfer tape off. Okay, so how to stencil without getting paint to run underneath all these little spots and cause gloppies, also called feathering, where it gets underneath and your paint line is not a nice crisp line. You're thinking, oh, what is she talking about? This stuff is stuck down, but this paint, it can find little spots in that grain and get underneath there, especially like right here where you have a knot. It adds the character to the wood, but it adds difficulty in sticking a stencil. But anyway, so how to do this to keep a minimum amount of paint from running underneath your stencil. You dip in your paint barely. Oh, where am I at? You dip in your paint barely. You see that? That is way too much paint. You see how much drippy that is? Clean that off. Still too much. Clean that off. Grabbing a napkin. Tap some of that off. You want barely any paint. Wet paint is going to find a spot to run. If I press hard, I'm going to press hard. If I press hard like that, I'm going to spread paint out underneath. I'm just going to push it right underneath my stencil. Instead, I'm going to lightly seal all these edges. Lightly. With tapping. Barely any paint. Clean it off. Tap some off. Barely tap. And I'm going to go around all of my white stencil everywhere. This is the M, but I'm going to do the E, I'm going to do the wreath, I'm going to do the H, I'm going to do the welcome. I'm going to barely tap and seal in that vinyl and let that paint dry. Okay, so you do that. You lightly tap a light coat of paint. You're going to see through it. It's going to be kind of sheer. We're not looking for coverage. We're looking to seal the edges of the vinyl with paint. Okay, go for it. Okay, so this is what mine looks like, all sealed in. Lightly. You can see wood through it. But by doing this to the edges and letting it dry, it kind of puts a coat between the stencil and the wood so that when we do a thicker coat, it's guarded. You still don't want to do super wet paint when we do this next coat, just in case you missed a spot. Or just because it might not have sealed really well in some areas. But this helps give us a little bit more insurance that it'll do well. So also in your kit you have a chip brush. Look how much paint I still have left. You can barely tell I've used any. This is so great. You dip in your paint and you paint nice long strokes with the grain of the wood. Again, thin. It is so much better when you're painting to do thin coats and have to do 2 of them than it is to do 1 thick coat and it be gloppy and chippy. Also, I want to talk to you about the edges. Now, you can make them pristine or you can leave some wood showing if you want that you look at my shadow, that rustic look. I'm going to make mine a little bit more pristine. I'm just going to go over. When I paint, I am not dipping so much that it's getting up to the metal part of the bristles. And I am also more like laying the paint across, smoothing it out more than straight up and down with this. That gives me fewer brush strokes. Although Fusion Mineral Paint is self-leveling to some degree, so once this dries, quite a few of those brush strokes will disappear if you've treated it right. So let's go back to where I've already painted here. Now that it's starting to set up, because this dries really fast, do not brush back over it. If you brush back over it, you are going to make ridges. So once you get your paint down, you've got a couple of seconds to go back over it and smooth it out, then move along. Do not go back, oh, I need to catch that. Leave it. You will have more trouble if you try to smooth out a brush stroke over here than if you just leave it. So that's just a warning. If you missed some coverage, wait till it dries and then give it the second coat. You don't want to go back over tacky paint. It will peel it up and make it gloppy. So I'm going to paint all of this now in nice long strokes with not a lot of paint on my brush, just about that much. I'm starting in areas that's not vinyl covered, so just so I can, because that's where my thickest paint's going to be. And then I'm just going to brush across in nice long brush strokes. The longer your brush stroke, the smoother the paint. And I've just got a few seconds to go over that area. Go back over it with long strokes. And then move along. Okay, so this won't take long. I will be back with you in a minute. Okay, I'm back. I have done a full coat of the putty. You can see it's a little bit streaky, and I have to decide if I'm going to like it or if I'm going to give it a second coat once it's 100% dry. I've also peeled up an edge just to see how much coverage I had. See the difference there? I want to show you how much paint I used for this Fusion Mineral paint. I used half. So about an ounce of paint gave me this much coverage. I could use the whole thing and do the whole board. That is good to know on these little sample sizes, because sometimes people don't want a full pint of paint for just one project. So this gave me good information too. So I am going to go ahead and show you. I'm going to leave it, and when you pull up your vinyl, I could grab a knife, because these fingernails of mine, where are they at? You can see they're hard to get underneath and pull. If you have fingernails where you can get underneath and pull, that's great. Otherwise, you need something sharp, like an X-Acto knife or something to help you get it started. And then you just pull. And if you did a good job of sticking down your vinyl and not using too much paint or pressure, you should have pretty pristine lines, even where the knot is. The knot's a little bit wavy, but not bad enough where I'm worried about it. All right, here's one I haven't started picking up. So what I did was just kind of where I can lift enough. I didn't jab, I just kind of got underneath that vinyl where I could grab hold of it. Well, it fell back down. You're waiting to see how I did on this wreath. All those little bitty leaves. Oh, it might take 10 minutes to get all that vinyl up. We'll see. The big things like the M and the E, yeah, they're impressive. Oh, look at all those little pieces. Got it started. Hopefully I can pull it up. I just got one leaf. That's not right. Okay. Oh, yeah. Home video expert. I am not. But you're going to go through the same issue. Pulling up all of this stuff. So I'm going to work on this. I'll have it paused for an hour or two, but you won't notice. So come back in a minute. Well, actually, you can keep playing it and watch me. But I am going to pause, and I will be back in a minute. Okay, she is done. I did pretty good. There's a couple of little runny spots. Not bad. Not bad at all. See if I can find them. Like I have a little bit right there and a little bit right there. I could always just leave it because from a distance, who's going to know? Or I could take that pointy area and lightly kind of scrape it at it with the point. But I like it. I like it better left and looking homemade, not homemade, handmade, then look like it's mass produced somewhere. So there she is. The thing to keep in mind, little bits of paint, light pressure, and try not to reposition your vinyl too many times so it sticks well to its surface. Thank you so much for buying the kit. Send me a picture, please, of your group's finished product. Like me on Facebook. If you do post me some pictures, I'm going to post some there too. Thanks. Bye.